Here we are live again on Friday afternoon with the Harp Effect with Marcia and Yo Reno. And today we have the most interesting and wonderful guests. There's more than one here. We are at Miracle Ear in
Palm Desert.
In Palm Desert. I'm always, when things go like close to the next line, but the Coachella Valley, Miracle Ear in Palm Desert, yes, and it's very easy to find. And Miracle Ear, what is Miracle Ear? Darren, who I'm going to introduce, and Darren is, what are you, like the CEO, what we call this, or the?
I'm the HCP, the hearing care professional.
And we're here with his wonderful
office
manager, Carol.
Loya.
And I've known her long enough to know her name. It's like, I get names all mixed up. And Carol is here.
Yes. Do you know one thing? I don't mean to interrupt.
That I do.
About 2 years ago, when she opened with us, when we opened up June of 2021, you interviewed us. And here we are now, 2 years later.
Was it? Oh, wow, Carol, that's really great.
Yeah.
Reno, can you believe? Well, because I stop by periodically. And we have a special, I can say it's our guest, but it's really Darren's guest here. And this is Joe Christopher. Say hello to the world.
Hi, how are you?
And so, Darren, because we are here with the special gentleman who has some extra needs, and I find it all fascinating, I find it interesting, and the fact that it is here, it is available, it's a story. And I'm going to let Darren tell you more about it.
Okay, so for a long, long time, Miracle Ear has had what they call the Gift of Sound program, which is with the Miracle Ear Foundation. And our Miracle Ear Foundation originally treated mostly children from underprivileged families, and now we've expanded the program to where we treat people of all ages who may have a need for hearing health care and otherwise can't afford to do it. And we run into these situations with a lot of special circumstances. So today we have Mr. Joe Christopher here, who is legally blind. And with the expenses in his life and the fixed income situations with the disabilities and needing to have a caregiver and all of the other expenses that go along with this situation, we found his need for hearing health care to be very extreme, and we wanted to fit him. So we reached out to our foundation and we did an application process, and it took a little time. It did. And we had to supply a little bit of documentation and some other things. But once we got all of that rolling, we got an approval to fit Joe with a pair of hearing aids.
Well, I think it's fabulous. But the thing is that I know that Joe is like one of the first recipients here from your foundation, and that you have a process of locating people that could also benefit from this particular.
Well, I wish we had more of a process for locating people. We really rely a lot on getting the word out that we have this available for people, and we try and spread that word to some clients that come in and otherwise can't afford the cost of hearing devices because they can run very high up there. It's tough, but we rely on them coming to us quite a bit. And that's part of the reason we were really excited about this today and having you here, Marcia, is to help get this word out to the community that we're here to help. And we really want to be here for people who are in need, who aren't hearing well, and otherwise can't afford to do something for that hearing health care, because it's so important now that we address this in people's lives. The way that it ties into the brain and function of the brain and memory and all of this other stuff and how it can affect a person's life and livelihood. It's so important that we are here to help people who need the help. And Miracle Ear really, really tries hard to get that done through our foundation.
I think that's to be, well applauded, Darren, because I would imagine that most of you watching right now would go, wow, I had no idea that was even a possibility. And joining us in the middle of all of this is the man who found Darren for Joe. Am I correct? And this is Eddie Lopez. Am I correct?
Yes.
Well, welcome,
Hi,
Eddie.
Eddie.
And
Hi.
you are the caretaker for Joe Christopher.
Yes, yes, I've been for a little over a year now. But I've known him longer, so this, and when I first met him, he had, you know, other, I don't even know if I would call them, hearing aids that were amplifiers, right?
Right.
And they just didn't work for him. He didn't like wearing them, and it was just, it didn't last very long. So this has been
And
wonderful.
let's hear some of that from your side, Joe. I think it's important to get your input here.
Well, I did wear these amplifiers. They were acquired over the counter because I recognized that I had a hearing impairment. I didn't understand how great that hearing impairment was, but I felt like I needed some kind of supplement to aid me in hearing. But I couldn't wear them because they hurt my ear.
They hurt your ears?
They did. The tubing, I guess, from the device, which was already a pretty good sized device. If you use your index finger, imagine that wrapped around your ear, and then the tubing that comes from that into your ear. It hurt my ear, and at that time I was wearing glasses as well. So they just didn't fit.
They didn't match up.
Or work.
Correct.
Or work.
Or work, more importantly.
Or work,
If they
yes.
fit and work, that might be a little different story.
Right. Eddie.
Eddie, how did you and Joe connect?
We met through mutual friends, and out several years ago when I moved here, and yeah.
From Los Angeles, I understand.
Yeah. I moved here from LA. So, and we became good friends before he lost his vision, and that sort of thing. But yeah, I'll be glad to not it's been difficult because I have had to change a lot of my behaviors around him to accommodate or try to make sure that he hears me or not.
It does go both ways.
So I'm going to have to fix that.
And what we try and do when we do these fittings with a hearing device, and this goes for all of our clients, all of our patients, is we want to know real specific stuff about life and need. What are your specific listening priorities, and what do we want to focus on accomplishing and trying to overcome any deficiencies in those areas? Communication with other people, friends, family. How are you doing with watching television? How are you doing with the volume of different things? Can you hear an alarm if it goes off? Hazards, can you hear traffic, can you hear sirens, and focusing on a personal approach to a person's lifestyle needs as well as their hearing healthcare needs, and trying to find a solution that will fit those and make a difference. How do you feel about the way you're hearing right now, Joe?
Oh, hearing is the key word.
Right?
I'm very impressed.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
They're like working, and you can hear all of us. See,
Oh,
I
yes.
understand it too because Darren fits me with these things periodically that I look at on the shelf, and then I try them out and go, no, I need a different kind. But Miracle Ear. Well, the first time I met you, I'm trying to think how we ended up here.
You came in for a hearing test.
I came in for a hearing test. That's right, and that's 2 years ago in June of 21.
And we fit you, and we addressed a little bit of issues with some vanity and different things, right? We have
No,
to be honest
vanity
about
never
it.
entered the picture. Not at all.
But now we've changed, and we refit her with something that was a little bit more effective for your life.
And so, Eddie, you'll understand because I know you're in the music business and as well, and I can say, how did I think I was going to escape this, with all the blaring music that I've been around since I was this high?
Monitors and just anything having to do with it. Yeah. The fans screaming your name.
Can't get enough of that.
Oh yeah, that I like that one. I enjoyed that
At
one.
least you can turn them down.
So Darren, I have a question. like when these clients come in, how often do they realize how bad their hearing is?
Unless they're a current wearer that's experienced with what they've been doing in their life, they're not. A lot of times they're in denial. A lot of times they don't realize how much they're missing. Hearing goes away slowly over a long period of time in most cases, and in those cases the brain slowly forgets what normal is, but it doesn't hurt. It's not like a toothache. It's not like all of a sudden the world is totally blurry like Joe's been dealing with losing the eyesight over a rapid period of time.
Very rapid.
It's a decade or so, and they come in and they go, well, I just, people are telling me that I'm not hearing them. I'm asking people to repeat a lot. I'm having trouble. My TV volume's up at 75 and everybody else would like it at 50. And so, we have some signs. There's some telltale signs, but a lot of people don't realize right away how bad it's getting.
At one point, to your point, at one point, he sat me down and told me that he was, I was yelling at him and I seemed angry. And I said, no, it's just that it's probably the fourth or fifth time I'm repeating myself and I feel like I have to yell because I'm not pretty monotone at times, low voice. So I yell and I just, and then I said, no, I'm not angry. I'm just having to raise my voice, probably saying the fifth time whatever I'm trying to tell you and getting close to you. And by then it sounds like I'm angry, but I'm not. So that's going to go away.
And we really like it when we have the familiar voice or the person that can accompany them in with this, that has firsthand experience of how this person's hearing in real life. And the amount of pressure and stress that's on both parties' shoulders because the person with the hearing loss is struggling to hear and straining and feeling left out of conversations, and the person that's with them is feeling like they have to yell all the time, and the stress of repeating and repeating. It wears on everybody, right?
We know this, right,
That's
Eddie?
happened in group situations too, where I've tried to take him out, to a barbecue or something with other friends, and he feels left out oftentimes because he can't participate in the conversations that are going on right near him, and he just can't catch everything. And yeah.
So this is the kind of stuff, that we would like to share with our foundation as well, because they want to hear this, and so we're going to do a little double recording here, I think. But so Joe, how excited are you feeling about the way you're going to be able to hear in some of those situations? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, I'm very excited. When you lose a sense, that being eyesight, and you lose it rapidly and you haven't been able to prepare for it, you become aware of how much you depend on other senses. And just sitting here the last hour with these hearing aids in my ears and being able to hear you, Darren, clearly, and Carol and you, and especially Eddie, because he has a low tenor to his voice. All of that is just exciting for me because I can finally feel like I'm participating again.
Isn't that exciting?
Oh, I like that.
I
He
know.
sounds like he's participating
Me
again.
joining.
Oh,
This
my
is so
gosh.
wonderful. And when Joe first came in today and we were just getting ready to do the fitting, he said, my arms, I feel like I have the goosebumps and all of that. This is why I love what I do for a living. And to make a difference in a person's life, I just, when I met Joe and I saw what he was going through and I knew we had to do something, and we tried. Obviously, we at first quoted some pricing and different things, and we looked at, can we do financing? Is there anything we can do that's going to help Joe get into a pair of hearing devices that will help him in these situations?
Took
And
9 months.
It took a little bit. It took a
Before
little
you,
bit.
we've been working on this. We've been working on this for a year
Right.
before you, and we thought, okay, this sounds great. And then when we thought all was lost, you came back to us and with this opportunity, and it's been a blessing. It's going to be huge.
Yep.
Well, Darren, like when I started to say a little bit ago, when the first time I met you, though, I knew that I was definitely in, well, let's just say good hands, safe hands, loving hands. I felt cared for. I felt like he had my best interest. People who work around the financial situation, so it's not like, you have to give up half your life to pay for your hearing aids. And it's like, I just felt like family.
And it's not drive-through service, like in and out.
Right.
Really took the time to address and listen to. They listen to a lot of both of our complaints and you know, concerns about this. So yeah, it's gonna alleviate so much stress and
Right.
redundancies.
And Eddie admitted he's not going to be able to mumble or whisper behind his back anymore.
Are you listening, Reno? Yeah. Well, so Darren, how can we, hello, there's another client calling you right
Right
there.
now.
Another lucky person who's found Miracle Ear and located in Palm Desert. Actually, we could say the Bristol Farms Shopping Center.
Yes.
Yes, I think that's the best locator
Yes.
identity. And
Corner of Country Club in Monterey,
yes,
next to Papa Dan's. We'll give them a little.
next to Papa
Everybody
Dan's.
knows
Right,
Papa
everybody
Dan's.
knows Papa Dan's.
And One Stop Beauty Supply is
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Those are my friends with James and
Depot
Kevin.
Teak next door to us over here.
Yeah, and Mona with the coffee shop where.
Yeah.
No, I met them through you actually
Yeah.
because you said, and we became friends with Mona.
You guys have the hookups.
Yes.
You guys have all the hookups.
We do.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So how can we further inform the world? Like if you were like in a situation such as this, and you knew that there was people listening who said, "I want more info on that.
Yes.
I'd like to know how I could possibly."
I mean, obviously, go on our website, read a little bit about us, check out some of the reviews, come in and see us, and give us a call. And you know, our phone number is 760-341-3413. And if you don't reach that number, we have two call centers nationally that can also tie you into this office directly. And any office in any town you're located in. Miracle Ear is all over the country, and all of our offices do this. And some of them do it quite a bit. And, you know, we really like to get the word out that we're here because in our area, this is a little more rare to come by, obviously. And we're in Palm Desert, California. There's no secrets there. We're full of country clubs and people who usually have more financial ability. But that's not true of every person in every situation. And we have a lot of very diverse communities around us with people who need this help too, and I think sometimes they're afraid to reach out for it.
Right.
Sometimes they're being
Right.
stubborn and denial about it, and the
It
family
also can be
members.
very embarrassing to
It
admit
can
it.
be.
Yeah.
Yep,
Or they
it
think
can
the
be.
cost is going to just prohibit them altogether, so they don't even
Exactly.
try.
Right.
So, but try.
But try.
Well, so now, Daryl. Oh,
I have
okay,
a
honey,
question.
go.
What about, do you do talks? Do you go to any of the assistant living or independent living and
We
give talks?
have. In the past, we used to do a lot more grassroots reaching out and doing talks at different places, and hopefully we'll get a program of that going again soon. As we start to open a couple more offices locally here, it's going to allow us to free up a little more time. With the one office that we have, we're actually pretty booked.
gotcha.
And
I know
Marcia
you're always
knows
busy,
we've got a
busy.
lot of people coming in and out, which
But that is something I
Yeah.
wanted to ask because, like, if somebody just goes on the.
she didn't mean
She's
it,
got
Joe.
jokes.
You know,
I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself. If somebody just goes to Miracle Ear, there's going to be a massive amount of information. But if we wanted to like direct them here to your Miracle Ear, because you want to meet Darren and Carol. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This is the place, and and so obviously, those of you who have tuned in know that we put the phone number and or the website on the ad, and Reno will follow it up again tonight or tomorrow or sometime very soon with that info directed to you. But if all else fails, they can go to just Miracle Ear.
Yes, and there's a national call center. They'll find out what zip code they're in and direct them to the closest office. So
Perfect.
yeah. And I mean, I can only say how important it is to address hearing health care needs. And we've learned so much since the 90s when they started doing all these studies with Johns Hopkins University and Penn State started it actually. And these studies, they weren't looking at hearing, they were looking at memory. They were looking at early onset dementia and Alzheimer's and these other things. And they started finding this link between hearing loss and their subjects and the people in the study and problems with their memory. And they realized that when we have these sensory deprivations, the negative impact it's having on brain activity and our hearing centers and our memory centers sharing space in the brain, and how that was impacting people's lives. And so that's when we started taking hearing healthcare so much more seriously, with digital hearing aids and prescriptive fits and things that address specific needs of the individual in their life, to try and bring that clarity and that focus back in, right?
He got a lot of questions when he first lost his vision, for instance. Well, did that sharpen some of your other senses, i.e. his hearing? And he was like, what?
It didn't work. It's not true.
It's not always the case.
Right.
So we're glad.
So what about a tendonitis?
Oh,
Yes.
I have
What
tinnitus.
tendonitis?
Yeah.
Oh, the ringing?
And we will be
buzzing.
working on that a little bit, Joe, just so you know.
Marcia thought it was crickets.
Okay, so
So did I for a little while. And I realized, no, it's not.
tinnitus is its own little beast, its own little monster. It is a brain issue. It's the brain not getting some of the stimuli and signal that it's used to, and so it starts to create kind of its own sounds that are perceived only by you. There's not an external auditory source of that sound. It comes in different forms, from whooshing to static to ringing to crickets to things. Everybody experiences some things a little different.
She kept having me spray, and I said, babe, they're
And
not
you see a lot of commercials and ads for the magic pills for that stuff, and there is no magic pill for that. I mean, the only thing that truly treats tinnitus that we try our hardest to address is hearing, and hearing a little better, having amplification done correctly. It helps bring some of that stimulation back, and what the object is to get that brain to calm down and relax and get it to ease up, and it will reduce that quite a bit. And we've seen very good results with that, with fitting correctly with hearing devices alone. There's also other things that we can do with different background sounds and masking noises that are more comfortable than the tinnitus might be itself. So,
Oh, putting sound into the hearing aid itself?
yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a little Bach and Beethoven?
Yeah,
or-
sure. Beethoven, that'd be great. Right. A little violin, that's better than just ringing, right?
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I'd like to add something about when you lose your sight, and I suspect it's true about the loss of any particular sense, you suddenly find yourself, those friends that you thought you had, they don't know how to deal with your hearing loss or your vision loss. And one by one, both Eddie and I have discovered that the friendship circles that we had have gradually dropped away. They just don't know how to deal with people who can't see or can't hear. That's happened to a lot of people that I've talked to.
It's true, and it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate side of human nature, I think, sometimes, that when something's a struggle to us and we can't understand it, we'll kind of distance ourselves from it a little bit. And people have a hard time relating with folks who have other disabilities that they're not prepared to maybe enough or know enough about to deal with directly. And obviously that's the kind of stuff we want to talk about. We want to address it because it's an important factor in what we would consider those specific listening priorities, that lifestyle need, what's going on, and how has this been affecting and impacting your life, and what can we do to get you back on the track towards that social life again and that activity level you're used to, and the other things that are so important to our well-being. What we see so much of with people who have hearing loss that refuse to do anything about it is they retreat. And they pull away and hermit themselves up, I guess, the word I'm looking for. And that's a negative impact on life, too, because now you're withdrawn from all of that other input in your life. And we want to do everything we can to combat that kind of stuff.
And going back to what Joe said, then you start finding out who your real friends are.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I mean, it's a sad thing about society, but the friends you do have are probably even stronger, more empathetic, and in the long run, those are the ones that count.
I think that's what we've experienced.
Yeah.
Good.
Wow, this has been fabulous. Do you want to check to see if anybody's asked any questions? No, you don't get off that easy.
Oh, okay.
Not quite that easy. So sometimes people send comments, and I wanted to make sure if anybody had asked a question about where they can, because if they're calling, like, is Miracle Ear all over the country?
Yes.
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 Huck, like Huckleberry, Huck.
Bunting.
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 That's the first one.
Okay, that is these people will comment and want to know, and let me know that they're tuned in and watching this. Hi, Huck. That was a classmate of mine
Oh,
in
wow.
Barnesville, Ohio.
Excellent.
And so,
Okay.
so Miracle Ear is probably very close by, somewhere in the Ohio Valley, Huck. I just know it.
And I mean, I can say this, even if you don't feel you have any problems with your hearing or any issues, you're not missing anything, and you feel like you're included and everything's going okay, it's still good to establish a baseline test. We give a free hearing test, period, at
Ooh.
all of our offices. You don't have to pay us to come in and talk to us about your hearing. You come see us, we're going to talk to you, we're going to put you in the booth, we're going to look in your ears, we're going to do an otoscopic exam, we're going to make sure there's nothing unusual going on, it's medical in nature, we're going to, we're going to do a full hearing test. We're going to be able to paint a big picture of where you're at with your hearing, speech recognition, and these kinds of things. And a baseline is good. I get a lot of people who come in and just say, I just want to get my hearing tested, and they might be fine. They might still be within completely normal parameters. But hearing is also very subjective. If at one time you were hearing what we would consider perfect, normal human hearing, and now you've dropped a few decibels, you could perceive that very differently from someone who's been fighting against it for years and letting it go. So
Did you hear that, Huck Bunning?
Doug Dean, the drummer, right?
All right.
Doug Dean. I don't know. Well, no, Doug. This is a friend of mine here, and what a nice, pleasant surprise. He's a drummer, and I would imagine that I never thought of it. Drummers would have. Ooh, Doug, how about your hearing? If you need anything, Darren is the man at Miracle Ear, right here in Palm Desert.
Yes.
Tim
Thornburg. Another clap. See, hey, the apple doesn't fall far from the Barnesville, Ohio tree. Let me tell you.
Doesn't she?
Hi, Tim. Hi, Tim. What a pleasant. I'm so glad because I know some of you out there have, some hearing issues. Go to Miracle Ear. They're probably in Wheeling, West Virginia, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Who said you were from somebody said Pennsylvania earlier, and who else? We have
CJ Sanders.
I know that lady. Yes. That's my wife. Hi, CJ.
He's really here.
He's working.
He's gonna be a star.
Hi,
That's
what's her name?
wonderful.
CJ?
CJ.
Hi, CJ.
And one more, we have Linda Marmy, M-A-R-M-I.
IE. Linda was from Barnesville as well, and
She has low
Linda's
hands.
Linda's husband, a classmate of mine, Larry Marmy, was a very outstanding football coach in this country, and he was at Arizona and with Washington. I can't remember all these names, but Barnesville gets well represented over time and distance. Let me. And the one thing is that Alexander Graham Bell there was a man by the name of Gray who by 9 hours missed the patent on the Bell telephone from
wow.
Barnesville, Ohio.
Interesting.
So we've been trying for a long time to keep us on the map.
So let's do this real quick, and I know we've got some viewers, but I want to just work with Joe a little bit on taking
good.
him on and taking him off, putting him on, and making sure, because this is something he's got to do by feel. This is a very unique situation for us.
I'm going to move over.
And then I'm going to, after we get done here, I'll work with you a little bit more, Eddie, too, as well as some of the care and stuff at home. But Joe, how do you feel about where they're sitting on your ears right now?
Is there
Pretty
something there?
comfortable? Is there something there, right? Why don't you go ahead and we'll start with the right one. Now the charger's right here in front of you like it was before. Okay. And you feel where that's at. Good.
I pulled my hair.
You did. I know. I saw that.
Not
And
much of it.
We want the right one in the right side, and you want to put the thicker end in. And now there's a little magnet on these that you're going to be able to feel catch so that you know it's connecting.
We got them going the right direction. I don't feel that right now.
Let's take a look
If you don't
here.
feel the catch, is
Okay,
the wrong one?
so go ahead and grab that and wiggle it towards so that it's tipping out a little bit more, so that it's kind of tip, you'll feel it kind of catch right there. If
Okay,
you
now
tip it out a little bit, so it's kind of curved out this way, that's the way it'll generally sit. And you can feel that magnet grab real nice. Let's go ahead and do your left one. We're going to put you back into the silent mode for a second here.
So you're gonna go, are you gonna do anything, I mean, go over
For
there?
anniversary, I don't know, we talked about it on the phone last night.
Did I get it right this time? There, sort of.
Good.
Am I
You can
okay?
feel it, yep, you hear it click in, and you can feel that. So if you touch it and you grab it, you can feel that magnet's got a hold of it. Now, and that's because you're not going to be able to see the lights come on to know it's connected properly for the charge.
Right.
And if you can feel that that magnet's grabbing a hold there, you know you've got them in properly to get the charge. All right, now we're going to practice putting them on. How do you feel about that?
Sure.
Okay, you want to start with the right one?
Come here.
Now we did this a little bit already, so we already know he's doing a really great job here.
So he's just waiting it, yeah.
Okay, you're going to wiggle that little tip in,
He's 89 in
and then you can use the little bend on the wire and just make sure, yep, it's nice, it's against your face, perfect. That looks really good. How's that feel? Feel
Good.
like that's in there okay?
I can hear.
All right, welcome back to the wonderful world of sound.
watches TV, he's good on the phone, he has a lot of friends that,
No, I think that's backwards.
Yep,
isn't
I think you might have got that one a little. There you go.
it? There.
Yep.
and I see him like twice a week, usually.
Oh, he's doing a great job.
He's a natural at this. Yep. Now you want to just make sure that wire, yep, comes forward towards your nose a little bit. Okay.
But he's got some,
And that's okay. You've got that in nice. And then if you feel the wire on your ear here, and you just kind of pull that towards the front of your face a little bit, and you make sure that's nice right there and it's not hanging off of your ear itself.
There we go.
That's nice. Great job. You know, he's better at this than a lot of the other folks I teach how to do this with. So,
We're still going on the other one.
great job. I am so excited, and we were so worried at first that we were going to have to do some custom molds, which we still may do and address in the future, but, you know, Joe's really got this down already in just this quick few minutes of fitting with him. And I'm just very happy to know that he's going to be able to go back out there and enjoy the sound of life again.
I'm going to take a guess that when we advertised earlier today that we were going to Miracle Ear, that some of the people who have tuned in and who will be viewing, that won't even leave a comment but are viewing,
And hopefully sharing.
yeah,
Please do
sharing,
share.
you know, and let people know that this actual foundation here does this. I mean, it's like, I mean, I have chills because I think it's incredible. And I know that a lot of you do not know it's available. And so, as you well know, you can always contact me through my Facebook, through, you have all my information. Everybody watching has mine. And Miracle Ear.
And I don't want to sound like I'm pandering too much, but the Miracle Ear Foundation and the Gift of Sound at any Miracle Ear location, anybody who wants to donate to this great effort that we're putting forth is welcome to. We take donations for the foundation, and we just want to make sure we're able to do what we do. And our people go on mission. They go on mission all over. They go to Puerto Rico, they go to Mexico, they go all over the United States and to different communities where we can set up and do our best to fit anybody that can come out to that event in need.
It's
So
not pandering, it's life changing.
it's life-changing, absolutely.
Oh, life-changing, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Well, Darren, I mean, this has been fabulous, and certainly, I mean, and I have been in here several times, and I didn't know that all of this was available. So do take advantage of it. Those of you who even suspect you have an issue, because like Darren said, you can go to any Miracle Ear studio, I want to say studio office, and get a free hearing test. And Reno, do you have, I'm going to start with you and see if you have anything to add to this.
What? I had to do it.
We were taking that word out of our vocabulary. What and huh?
I agree. I like what you two were talking about. You just have to let your ego get out of the way.
Yeah.
If people are asking you more than once what you're saying, or you are the one with the loud TV, then come in and get a free check. You don't even have to tell anybody you're doing it.
Right. Yep.
I'll leave you to
Yep.
the end, Darren, to see, and Eddie, who cares very much for Joe. What would you like to add?
I'm grateful because, like I said, it helps not only him, but, everyone around him.
Yes.
So including myself, because we interact a lot during the day about things that I need to get done for him or help him or that sort of business, and it's going to save a lot of frustration, time, and energy,
Yep.
wasted on being frustrated really for something that is no fault of his or mine. So,
Yeah.
but it's good.
And I just want you to know that we began our journey a little while back. Obviously, it took us some time to get to this point of doing this fitting, but this is for the life of these products, and I'm going to be here to work with Joe forever if need be.
Me too.
So
You can't get rid of us,
no,
me either,
I know.
Careful, your
Yeah.
wife is listening.
I know.
You better come home.
And as our honored guest, Joe, would you like to say something more?
Well, I'm just, the operative word is hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And I can't wait to hear the sounds I haven't been hearing for a while. And it all started with a free hearing test. Thank you, Eddie, for finding Miracle Ear.
Amen.
It's a miracle.
So, like, okay, this, I'm like, so overwhelmed with all this, but as you well know, that I wish that may everything that has been reduced to noise in you become music again. And friendship, music, and Miracle Ears have no distance.
People will stop yelling at you.
Yeah. Love you. Bye now.
Bye, everybody.